welcome back to my channel. My name is Dani Rios for those that don't know me. So today I'm doing a highly requested video of Mexico's do's and don'ts. Now, of course, I could generally make it of Mexico, but I'm gonna try to stick with Mexico City just because I am here, and then kind of go over some generalizations of things to do and not to do here in Mexico. So don't mind me, there's like some weird sticker thing that like got on it when my mom washed it. As you guys know, it's like a nightmare with her washing because she like ruins everything. Okay, what if we do this? Does that work out? Okay. So just like super quick, I wanted to have my hair done for this video, but my hairstylist has not come to my house. And of course I had to film today or else my video would not be up. But I am dyeing my hair all black, cutting it really short, so I won't have like this weird blondness happening that's just like not cute. I know I keep changing my hair up a lot, but I just miss my hairstylist from Dallas. So anyway, I'm just gonna like leave it black and just let it be. Sorry, this is like not the cutest hairstyle, but we're just gonna start this video and yeah, it's gonna be fun. So if you guys are ready, let's do this. Okay, so this is going to be a do in Mexico. So now here in Mexico, there's obviously Ubers, and as we guys know, there's obviously taxis as well. But this is something that you have to do like every time you get in an Uber, which honestly is worldwide. It's not really even just in Mexico, but definitely check the license plates of your Uber when you're going anywhere. Make sure it's that car, make sure it's the color, make sure it's the person, make sure it's the driver's plate, because you definitely want to be completely sure that it's safe. Now, Ubers here in Mexico are super cheap, so I would opt out to getting an Uber versus a taxi. I would also opt out to get an Uber versus a car rental, just much safer that way. So definitely if you come and visit Mexico City, like it's $2 for like a 10-minute ride. So definitely like that's my #1 tip, but you definitely want to make sure that everything checks out. Now, as far as taxis go, if you are going to get a taxi, again, make sure that you ask beforehand how much it's going to be to your destination, because you don't just want to get in the car, get to your destination, and them charging you tons of money. Taxis, I don't 100% recommend them, but we have taken them every just now and then when maybe like there's no Ubers around, or especially I think it was in Oaxaca, I definitely had to take a taxi because Uber is not in Oaxaca. So yeah, that was kind of like difficult to me because I just get scared with taxis growing up. Like I would panic, like I would make sure like I could open the door and make sure I could like leave if anything happened, just because I grew up with like a lot of horror stories from taxis. But yeah, no, they're completely safe. Just make sure you ask definitely how much it is for your destination, and then you can obviously ask people like around that area, or let's say like someone, maybe you're staying at a hotel, you can be like, hey, how much is it from this place to this place in a taxi? And then they can kind of give you a better rate, because if not, taxis will 100% try to scam you. So make sure you always check and do that. And if you are getting an Uber, check everything before you get in it. So that is my #1 do in Mexico. So this is kind of more like specific to Mexico City. Do dress appropriately. So Mexico City is a very bougie-ish city, and there is a lot of tourists that come, but obviously like if you see someone walking around in like flip-flops and shorts, you already know that person is not from here. You already know that's a tourist. And for me personally, I never like looking like a tourist anywhere I go. I try to like blend in as much as I can, because of course I don't want to get scammed. I don't want to get, you know, like targeted. So, you know, like something that I feel comfortable 100% wearing in LA, like crop tops and just like oversized pants and just like over the top outfits that I would feel like so cute in LA and people would think that's normal, I would not wear it in New York City. You know what I mean? Like New York City, if I were to wear that, they'd be like, that girl is so tacky, what is she wearing? Just because it's different vibes. Like people in New York City are very sleek, black and neutrals, and they dress really well, where LA is just more trendy and just like you kind of wear just like a ton of stuff. So in Mexico City, I would say always dress appropriately. I always tell my friends to come, like never bring shorts, like do not wear shorts, because no one wears shorts here, and you will obviously tell that you're a tourist. You definitely don't want to wear any open-toe shoes, because Mexico City is just a dirty city in general. So you definitely, you know, if you were to wear flip-flops and go home, like your feet would be like completely black. So you definitely don't want to wear open-toe shoes. You just want to dress, and then especially if you are a woman, you want to dress appropriately. And as much as I hate to say, like there is a lot of like men that will like catcall you and just make you feel 100% uncomfortable. And I would hate that to happen to any of you guys. Like honestly, every time I go out here, like even if I wear something a little bit tight, like people are just staring at you, or like, and it's just the worst. I hate feeling uncomfortable, and I hate that. And yes, as much as I hate that I have to change the way I dress, you 100% have to here in Mexico, because men are just so like disgusting, and you will get catcalled. I mean, you will get catcalled regardless of what you wear, to be honest, but do try to stay a little bit on the modest side, just because like people in Mexico City, the way they dress is just very like stylish and chic, and people opt out for more like formal, casual business wear as opposed to like really obnoxious like outfits and stuff like that. So just dress appropriately for men and women. I mean, again, you don't want to stand out, because I feel like that's how you get targeted, especially if you're like in really touristy areas. Just make sure, you know, you dress with the city. All right, so another do is carrying cash. You have to carry cash in Mexico City, in Mexico in general. Cash is just like such a commodity here, and you really won't be able to do much unless you have cash. So what I tell my friends is, okay, yes, bring your credit card, bring your debit card. If we go to restaurants, pay with your card, because the exchange amount will be higher, so it's better for you. My best friend actually asked her bank to send her like $200 of pesos, and they did that at like a higher exchange rate. So maybe you might want to look into that. But yeah, just make sure you do have cash at all times. And I know at some times, like towards the end of your trip, you're gonna like want to get rid of all your cash because you're like, oh, well, I'm about to leave. But I would just say, like, try to keep your cash as much as possible, because you'll never know like when you'll need cash, or you'll never know like something random happens and you just need cash and you don't have cash, and then like now you can't like figure out your life because you don't have cash. So as much as you want to get rid of it, try to keep your cash as much as possible, and only use it when like debit cards are not, you know, accepted or anything like that. And this honestly happened to me so many times. Like, we got rid of all our cash in the pyramid because we were like, oh, well, we're going home. And me forgetting that I still have to pay for like the tolls on the way home. So we had no cash, we just had dollars. We had to like stop, ask someone if they would give us like some pesos for dollars. And then it was just like a whole fiasco. So you definitely want to keep your cash as much as possible. And then like when we went to the beach, you know, there's some restaurants that only accept cash. So of course, you know, street food and stuff like that, they're only gonna accept cash. So just carry cash with you at all times. Try not to get rid of it. If you can pay with your card, pay with your card. But if not, 100% do cash. So now this is gonna be a don't. Don't wear obnoxious jewelry. Don't wear obnoxious purses and stuff. Of course, in certain areas, like let's say like you go to Mazarik, you go to Polanco, you go to Reforma, any of like the bourgeois areas, of course, you know, people are just kind of used to seeing all of this. So it's not such a huge deal. But let's say you want to go to Xochimilco, which are the little boats. Let's say you want to go to downtown and see Bellas Artes. You definitely want to like not wear a lot of jewelry, maybe wear like a fanny pack or something like that, because you just never know. And you, again, you don't want to be targeted and you don't want to stand out. So I would just say kind of like hide those stuff. Like I always forget to take these rings off when I like go places, and there are certain areas, especially like in downtown, I will like go like this to my rings and kind of like do that, and then just like hold it, because I just do not want people, you know, to see that and just like maybe to like follow me. And again, it's not dangerous, like that's never happened to me, but there's certain areas where you definitely want to be a little bit more cautious. But of course, like if you go into Polanco again, you're hanging out in Mazarik. I mean, it's like the bougiest towns of Mexico City, so like people are not gonna care, you know, they're probably gonna be like, that's just another regular person, you know? So just be kind of like mindful of the neighborhoods that you're going to, and definitely in certain neighborhoods you're fine. In other neighborhoods, I would say just like be a little bit more cautious of your surroundings. So this is a don't, which I hate to say, but again, you're gonna have cash with you, right? And here in Mexico City, there's tons of kids, there's tons of like women, even men that are just like begging for money. And as much as I want to help, and a lot of these people are scammers. And this actually kind of happened to me in Spain, where it's like you want to help people and they're like, oh, this is like you just need a signature to help like this like adoption center or something, and then you like sign because you're trying to be nice, and then they try to talk to you for like 10 minutes and get money out of you. They honestly make a lot of money from doing that. So I would just say like try to keep your coins, try to just, you can just say like, oh, I don't have cash with me, and kind of just move it on, because honestly they just guilt trip you into like you giving them money. This old, super old lady, it was like a few weeks ago with my friend here in Mexico. We were getting some like, I don't know, she was getting dinner at some place to go. And this super old lady came and she was like, oh my God, like, can you give me money? Like, I don't know what she was saying, but we felt so bad because she was like super old, right? So my friend gives her some like coins, and she literally looked at her little like cup where she had put the coins, and she like gave us like a death stare. And she was like seriously, like that's all you're gonna give me? And just feel the need that like if you have bills, like you need to give them the bills. But of course, like let's say you're in like Coyoacán, which is like super touristy, where kids will just come up to you every 5 minutes asking you for money, trying to sell you something. And of course, if there's like little arts and crafts that you like really want to take home, like obviously I 100% like support that. Buy whatever you need to buy, because they're actually making something and making a product and, you know, making money from that. But as far as beggars, like all you are doing is begging. Again, they make a lot of money a day. So I just feel like for those certain people, just don't give your money. Like don't feel obligated, don't feel guilt tripped into like giving money just because you 100% don't need to. So another don't is do not drink tap water. I know in the US people drink tap water all the time, and even in the US it grosses me out to drink tap water, but here in Mexico definitely 100% do not drink the tap water. It's never filtered. It's really bad. When you do go to restaurants and you ask for water, just know that they're gonna charge you for water. Water here is never free. They're always gonna charge you for water. Now, of course, like if you go to restaurants, sometimes maybe they'll ask you like, do you want like bottled water? Because they're asking like, oh, do you want us to charge you and bring you this bottled water? Or do you just want like the tap water? Which I'm sure at restaurants is filtered. But I guess that's up to you whether you want to like ask and say like, oh, well, is your water filtered or whatnot? I always just get water bottles at all the restaurants because I don't trust any water, to be honest. That's why I don't drink water. I just don't trust it. I mean, even here at my house, we have like a triple filter in our fridge for the water, but even then I just like get creeped out and will opt out for like water bottles, which is really bad for the environment. But anyway, yeah, just don't drink tap water here, guys. It's like, don't do it because you probably will get sick. All right, so this is a do, and this is something that I tell all my friends that come, like every time we go to restaurants and stuff like that, you know, let's say you're paying with your card, right? Because again, you want to pay with your card because, you know, the exchange rate is way better than paying with cash. So when you go to restaurants, at the end, when you get your bill, you're going to pay. It's not like in the US where you pay and then you add your tip afterwards. Here you have to add it beforehand. So basically the person will come and I'll just be like, oh, add 15%, add 20%, and then they'll add that to the final bill and then you pay. So just make sure that you do leave tips everywhere you go, and make sure that you are, you know, giving that percentage before you completely close out your tab. Now in Mexico City, and just like in Mexico in general, I feel like 10% is like what everyone gives. Of course, I'm so used to like the US and giving like 15-20%. So I always try to give a little bit more. I always try to do 15 or 20, but just know that in Mexico, it's very normal to do 10%. So yeah, I'm just kind of giving you like a spectrum of like how much tip and how much like you should give. I wish I would have known that when I went to Spain, because we were like tipping everyone, and then it turns out that like people don't really tip over there, or it was like something weird where like they get paid really, really well over there where you like don't have to tip. So yeah, I wish I would have known that. All right, now this is a do, and this kind of goes back to me telling you, you know, to like look at the rates for taxis and make sure you ask several people before you actually get on it so you're not scammed. But definitely do ask several people for like tips. If there's a certain place that you want to go and you ask a person and they're like, oh, well, take the bus and take this and then, or take the metro, and that's the easiest way. Like, just make sure you ask several people, because a lot of people will tell you different things. A lot of people don't know and will just make up things. Why? I don't know. We've honestly found out that like people will just give you directions to places that they don't even know how to get to, and then, you know, one person will tell you like, oh yeah, it's that way, and then you ask someone else and they're like, yeah, it's that way. So just make sure you ask several people before you come to a conclusion, because I swear it's like, it's mayhem. And same thing with like asking around prices. Like, let's say maybe you go to like Xochimilco, which are again the little boats. You want to ask around to see how much the little boats are from different people, different vendors, because they're all gonna have different rates. And just know that in Mexico you can obviously negotiate for a better rate. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, these people like really need it and you shouldn't like negotiate if you can travel and whatnot. And of course, like, that is true. Like, sometimes there's certain stuff where you're like, okay, just like pay for whatever, you know, they're telling you to pay. But again, with like really touristy spots, they're always gonna want to scam you. So I just want people to pay what's fair instead of like paying what, you know, they're giving you as a price because you're like a tourist and they know that you have money. So this is something that I do all the time. I ask a lot of people the different prices, and once I come to like a good fair price, I'm like, okay, so I have like 10 friends with me, how about you like knock off, you know, maybe like 20 pesos per person. I don't know how it works, but just giving like a scenario, just, you know, try to get like a really good rate where you feel comfortable knowing that that's like a good rate for you. As a tourist, Mexicans will try to scam you so bad, and we were cracking up because definitely when we went to Tulum, they were trying to do this to us. You know, they were telling us that the taxi was like, I don't know, maybe like 200 pesos to get to like our Airbnb, and we're like, dude, are you serious? It's like literally up the street. And we told them in Spanish and they were like, oh, I thought y'all were American. Okay, 50 pesos. So like from 200 to 50 pesos, that's a lot. That's a big difference. So just know, like, sometimes what you're paying, it really is just because you're going to be a tourist and because maybe they think that you're not from here. All right, now this is kind of like my last tip. It's not really like a do's, or it's not really a do or don't, but it's more like, I found out that micheladas here are completely different from the US. So I think micheladas here are just like lime juice and salsa Maggi. And then if you want like an actual michelada with like the tomato juice and whatnot, that's called a cubana. So just make sure, like, before you order micheladas and you're just like out here trying to like live the life, that you kind of see the ingredients. Just a little, that's just a little pro tip out there. We've definitely ordered a lot of micheladas here and we're like, oh wait, we keep forgetting that it's called a cubana if we want a michelada. So that's just kind of like a tip. So now I'm just gonna go over some of the questions that people had for this video. Okay, so I'm just gonna answer some questions. Someone asked, would you recommend traveling to Mexico City right now? I mean, not exactly right now because everything's closed, so you would not be able to go to any restaurants or any nightlife or anything like that. There actually has not been any nightlife at all here. So if you're like trying to do that, definitely don't come because you're not gonna enjoy yourself very much. I think we're gonna be on like lockdown till like the 18th of this month, which is in a few days, but I honestly think they're gonna extend it. So I would just wait until January passes to see if it's a better time and if everything is open for you guys to come. Someone asked, are most restaurants open? Most restaurants are open, but only like to go and delivery. You literally cannot sit anywhere. So yeah, everything's pretty much closed. How bad is the theft? Mom is from Mexico and it was the only place she feared to travel. I don't think it's that bad here, you know what I mean? Of course, you're not gonna go to like the worst neighborhoods of Mexico City. I've been to other places where I feel way less safe, like especially like in Europe. Like when we went to Paris, my friend's phone was stolen like literally from her pocket. Like those people are wild. And I just don't think it's like that here. You know, I feel like they will try to scam you, or they'll try to get money from you in different ways. But I think just like out in the daylight robbing you, it's definitely like a 0.5% chance that that would happen to you. So I wouldn't fear theft here, to be honest. It's pretty safe. I have always wanted to go. How safe is it to wander by yourself? Now, I pretty much kind of sometimes go to places by myself where it's just me and my friend. And if, again, we stay in like nice neighborhoods and like not super dangerous neighborhoods, which again, there's not very many dangerous neighborhoods. I feel like the most maybe dangerous area would probably be downtown, but only because there's a lot of people and you know, you just have to be really aware of your surroundings. But even if you were to go to downtown, like I don't think you should fear, you know what I mean? I just think you should be more cautious. Definitely don't take jewelry, maybe just like a little fanny pack or something like that, so you're not like targeted. But I mean, I wander by myself all the time, especially like in areas like La Condesa, in Polanco, in Mazarik, Roma Norte. Like those are all like the main areas that like tourists would probably be at, you know? And I wander by myself during the day and I don't think anything's gonna happen to you. Do you recommend Airbnb or a hotel? I say Airbnbs just because they're a lot cheaper. Of course, if you're trying to kind of do like a more bougie vacation, then you can, you know, obviously do a hotel. But I think Airbnbs are really great. And, you know, especially if you're like in La Condesa or you're gonna hang out around those areas, Airbnbs are super easy because you can kind of walk anywhere and they're just like super central to everything that you're probably gonna like want to do and stuff like that. But of course, if you're going to be maybe like, let's say you want to go to the pyramids, you want to do a lot like Xochimilco, you want to go to Coyoacan and stuff like that, you know, where you're going to be like commuting for long periods of time, then maybe like try to do a hotel because I feel like you'll be definitely more comfortable there. But if you're kind of just like exploring and just walking around and trying to like get a feel of the city, then definitely like do an Airbnb. And again, Airbnbs are like so cheap here, so if you want to save money, definitely do that. What do you recommend for families to do out there? They have 3 kids. I love Coyoacan. Of course, when it's open, there's tons of street vendors. It's awesome to like just walk around and kind of like see live music, try different foods, go to El Mercado, go to the Mercado de Artesanías. There's just a lot to do there. Frida Kahlo's house is there. So I love Coyoacan. I feel like it's just like such a family-friendly place to go to. Xochimilco, which are like the boats, I never recommend my friends to go there just because it's like, it's so expensive. I feel like people try to scam you there, and it's not really fun unless you go in like really huge groups, because all people do there is like drink and party and eat on the boats. So if you are going with a smaller group, definitely I would say don't do that. But if you're going in like big groups and stuff like that, then I feel like that would be fun. And also it's a lot more safe. So another fun thing, obviously pyramids, that's really fun. Pyramid of Teotihuacan. I loved it there. We had breakfast at the caves. We had dinner in a different cave. We went to the pyramids. We like learned so much about like the agave plants and just, you know, Mayan culture. And it was just really, really fun. So that's definitely like a really fun activity for you guys to go to and do. And other than that, I mean, there's a lot of museums, but I'm sure, I don't know, like that kids would like thoroughly enjoy. But those are kind of like my top 2 places to go to. Oh, you know what's another really fun place that I like would go all the time as a child? If you go to Santa Fe, which it is really far from like, let's say if you were staying like in Roma Norte or La Condesa, but go to Centro Santa Fe because in there is the Kids City. I think it's called Kidzania. I always called it La Ciudad de los Niños. I thought that was the name of it. I guess not. But oh my god, if you have little children, that is like the most fun place ever. It's like a huge city within the mall. It's just like a regular city, like, you know, where they have like Domino's Pizza, they have sushi, they have Televisa, like where the actors go and act. And they just have all this stuff, and basically like the kid, like they have grocery stores, and basically the kids can like work at different places and earn money and, you know, buy stuff with this like fake money. I don't know, it's super fun. I used to do that all the time growing up. So definitely if you can go there, 100% go. It's like, it's even, I feel like I would have fun if I had kids and I took them there. So definitely try to look into that. Is COVID under control? I mean, I feel like COVID is bad anywhere, you know what I mean? So I feel like at this point, people that haven't shut down for long periods of time and haven't been really strict with it, COVID is still there. And I just think at this point, there's nothing really that a lot of people can do. So, you know, like countries like Europe and stuff like that, it's like they were super, super strict. Like I remember my friend told me that you could only go to your nearest nearest grocery store, and they would even check your ID to see the nearest grocery store. And if you like weren't and you went to like a farther one, like you would get fined, and you literally couldn't leave your house. So like I feel like those countries thrived because they did it so early on, and of course there's probably not that many outbreaks, you know. And even now I feel like they ask a lot from like, you know, international travelers to have like a negative COVID test. So I feel like those countries are really the ones that succeeded. As far as Mexico and just like the US and maybe I don't know what other countries where it's like they're not very strict about it, I just feel like COVID is never really going to be under control. So I mean, that's just my take on that. You know, take what you need. It's safe. I mean, you don't look like you're in danger at all, but so many stories in Mexico City. I feel like I don't even know like what these stories are, to be honest, just because I feel like Mexico City is actually now one of like the most safest cities. I feel like really more so the outskirts of Mexico are where like the more dangerous stuff is, just because maybe, yeah, there is like the cartel there and it's very prominent, or you know, there's a lot of like human trafficking and stuff like that. But as far as like Mexico City, I feel like it has honestly become a really safe city, and I think that's why a lot of tourists want to come and live here, just because I feel like you can do a lot and you 100%, you know, feel safe. So I don't know, I feel really safe here. I mean, a lot of people are just like, what's the crime rate, you know, how is it with the pandemic, how safe it is, can you travel without a guy? I think so. I mean, again, I wouldn't travel alone. I definitely would travel with like someone else, but can you travel without a guy? Yes. Okay, someone said, what's the safest neighborhood to live in Mexico City? I think a lot of places here in Mexico City are safe to live in. Of course, like La Condesa, Roma Norte, like all of that down there in those areas are just like apartment buildings. So yeah, I don't think that's 100% safe. But like, let's say like where I live in and where a lot of my friends live in, they have a lot of security. So they have like 4 people, like 4, what is it called? Like 4 security stations to get to like your apartment complex. So of course like those areas are safe. So I would just try to, you know, live in an area where there's several like security stops before someone can get to your apartment building or to your area. And that's probably going to be your safest bet if you want to live in Mexico City. Most of the apartment building areas, except for like La Condesa and Roma Norte and those areas, they're really busy down there, and there's a lot of like incoming and outgoing streets, so there's not like a lot of space to do like many securities, you know. It's kind of just like the building and the street, and then like it's there. Whereas opposed to like if you were to live in like Interlomas or Santa Fe, or even like in the south, in order for you to get to certain areas and certain apartment complexes, you have to go through like the initial gate, and then you have to go to maybe through another gate, and then maybe after that you have to go through like your actual apartment security to get to that place. And it's funny because I actually went to take Brow Savior to an apartment complex, and I'm not kidding, we stopped 2 times to give like our ID before we even got to like her apartment complex. And then once we got to her apartment complex, I had to talk to the security there and tell them what apartment I was going to, and then they had to call. So it's just like I feel like Mexico City makes it really safe for you to live here. I think that's just like my take on that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Sorry I looked ugly in this video. Like, I can't get over myself, and I can't get over this like nasty little stain. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. You guys can also DM me if you have further questions. I would love to answer them. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and liked it. And yeah, let me know what else you guys want to see, and I'll see you guys next time.